Dr. Bruce Cole was chairman of the National Endowment for the Humanities from 2001 to 2009. In February 2009, he was named president and CEO of the American Revolution Center, the world's first museum and education center dedicated to teaching the story of the American Revolution. Dr. Cole was interviewed by the Jack Miller Center's Mike Deshaies and talks about the importance of students learning about our nation's founding principles.
Dr. Cole, there's a growing momentum to reinvigorate education in the teaching of America's founding principles and history. If you would, share with us your thoughts about how important it is for students to learn about the founding and about America's heritage.
I think it's very important. And I agree, there is a growing momentum. You can see it every day to figure out who we are and where we've come from so we can figure out where to go. And you can see it in many ways. One is the sale of books on the founders, David McCullough, Ellis, and Isaacson, books that are really read by millions of people. And Americans always think about their past in slightly different ways than other countries. I mean, we believe in American exceptionalism, that we are an exceptional country. And we're always thinking about what would Washington do? What would Jefferson do? What does the Declaration mean? What does the Constitution say? So I think this idea of Americans knowing history is especially important because we always go back to our roots. We have a creed, the Declaration of Independence, and we have a blueprint for this country, the Constitution. And so we have a start date as well. So those documents are incredibly important, and they have been a kind of North Star for Americans since their inception.
More and more people today are following politics, even involved in politics, yet as numerous studies show, many people don't have a solid grounding in America's history. Does this concern you?
Tests and polls and surveys have shown that Americans really aren't getting the kind of history education that they deserve. The nation's report card done by the Department of Education shows that 57% of 12th graders score below basic in American history. That's worse than any other subjects, including math and science. That's pretty astounding. And things are much better in the college and university level. First of all, tests have shown that college seniors don't know much about history, and that, as a matter of fact, many of them know less about history than they did when they entered as freshmen. And so it seems in some way that the longer you stay in school, the less you know about history. And there are many reasons for this. One of them is that teachers, now I'm talking about K-12, aren't really getting the kind of history education they deserve. The education schools are producing lots of good people, but people who know a lot about educational psychology and lesson plan making, but not about subject matter history. So you can't teach what you don't know.
As you know, the Jack Miller Center is focused pretty much 100% on the undergraduate college level. Share with us your thoughts about why it's important for college students to learn more about America's founding principles and history.
I think what's happening in colleges and in universities is A, students are not required to take any American history, and B, the field of American history is now divided up into so many specialties and subspecialties and sub-subspecialties that in many cases students aren't getting a broad view of what American history is. And I applaud the Miller Center, and I think the Miller Center really has done pioneering work in trying to instruct professors, often young professors, and network them in teaching American founding principles. I don't think there's anything more important than that. And I think the problem is there's a lot of remediation. I mean, when you get out of 12th grade, you don't know much, according to a nation's report card. And then when you get into college, you're not getting it at all, or if you're getting it, you need a lot of remediation. So I think there's a lot of work to be done in both K-12 and colleges and universities, and this is where history departments in colleges and universities can help K-12 by educating future teachers in subject matter knowledge. So yes, I think it's absolutely not only a necessity, but a responsibility of colleges and universities to instruct young people in our nation's founding and in their rights and their responsibilities and obligations.
Tell us how you got involved in this new museum, the American Revolution Center, and tell us what its mission is.
Well, I would have to start when I became chairman of the National Endowment for the Humanities. And we launched a program called We the People, a series of programs and grants in film and in teacher education to try to improve our understanding of American history, not only K through 12 in college and universities, but also the grassroots effort through the state humanities councils. And so we were very, very, very proud of that. When I left the endowment, I became president and CEO of the American Revolution Center. So what is the American Revolution Center? Well, the American Revolution Center is building the first museum dedicated to the American Revolution. And that is really pretty astounding, that there is no museum. And I remember when I was thinking and negotiating about this job, I didn't quite believe that when they said, this is the first museum, national museum dedicated to the American Revolution. And I remember Googling and finding out, hey, that's really true. And there are lots of parts of the American Revolution, really important parts of the American Revolution, Mount Vernon and Mount Pillier and Bunker Hill. But we want to tell the whole story of the Revolution. So what we're doing is building on 3rd and Chestnut Street in the Cradle of Liberty, downtown Philadelphia, the first museum dedicated to the American Revolution. And we are helped enormously by the fact that we have a very fine collection of Revolutionary War objects. Probably the greatest relic of the Revolution is something in our collection, which is Washington's campaign tent. It was his dining tent, his office. It was the first Oval Office, we'd like to say, because it is oval. And it's huge. It's probably around 25 feet in width. And we have Washington's campaign standard, which marked his presence of his headquarters. And we have books and archives and firearms, and we have Washington's campaign cups. And so we have a very fine collection. And I hope we can work with the Miller Center to have a very robust educational part of the museum, probably mostly virtual. We already have a wonderful website up with lots of educational materials. So it'll be a museum, and I hope this museum will instruct, but I also hope it will inspire, and that visitors will come in and they will learn several fundamental principles, but they will be inspired. They will have an experience when they visit the museum and will leave changed in some way.
This has been a Jack Miller Center digital media presentation. For more information, visit thejackmillercenter.org.